This
Broadcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the broadcast with Amanda, Shandy, and Colleen. My name is Colleen.
My name is Amanda.
And I'm Shandy.
And that's Eden.
And that's
welcome
Eden.
to the show, everybody. Welcome. How's it going? How was your week off? I've got COVID. I swear to God, this cough is only presenting now. It's like my cough is performative. It's like psychosomatic. Like I'm only coughing when other people can hear. When I'm by myself, I swear to God, it's fine.
Oh, no.
No, it's fine. But that was phlegm. That's not a COVID cough. COVID coughs are dry. That's what I've
true.
heard for 2.5 years. Anyway, how are you guys? Shandy, I can't wait to hear all about France. Let's just assume I swallowed my beer down the wrong pipe, and that's what this coughing is.
Great.
Anyway, yeah. What's up?
I am fresh off of 10.5-hour flight. I mean, it was yesterday, but still. No, France was good. Yeah, pretty fresh. France was good. Went back to work today. I'm anxiously awaiting the results of my PCR test to see if 3 out of 3 broads have succumbed to the vid.
Right?
If I haven't, then I don't even fucking know how that's possible at this point. My
Count your lucky stars.
Yes, I was able to make it back, so that's great. But I had 1,000,001 chances to get COVID while I was in France, but it was really, really fun. Good trip. Yeah, really good trip.
I'm either going to call, because you'll have your results back before this episode posts, so I'm either going to call this last woman standing, or the one where they all finally had COVID.
Hopefully it will be the former. We'll find out if it's the latter.
3 out of 3 broads.
Yeah, I will say that, like, my one thing about this trip, and it was to go to a dear friend's wedding whose wedding was postponed twice because of COVID. And incidentally, my sister-in-law's 50th birthday, which was also postponed in December because of COVID. It was like the rise of Omicron. And so she was like, yeah, maybe it's not the time to have a ton of people over. So as it turned out, both events were like back-to-back weekends. And so it worked out really well. And I was able to go to both. But again, like both like potentially very,
Yeah.
very
High
like
risk.
COVID infestation-y. We'll see.
Well,
But I was worried. I was like, if something happens, and because to go to Europe, you don't need a COVID test. I was just like being responsible, and I did a PCR test anyway before I left, and it was negative, and I was good, and I was like, okay, I can go.
Right.
To come back, though, you do to enter the U.S. You still do need a negative test within 24 hours, and so my whole thing was like, if I get stuck in France because of COVID, that will take an extra 5 to 10 days.
Yeah.
And I only have 10 days before I move.
So that would be highly inconvenient.
Yes, that'd be rough.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how I would do that, but so I did make it back. That's great, but we'll see.
Well,
we'll see.
We'll see. I don't know. So essentially, my story, real quick, is full disclosure. You guys know, I honestly, the day that we recorded last 2 weeks ago, if you listen, my voice goes in and out. I wasn't feeling good then, but I also didn't sleep that whole week. Like, I went to bed at 1 o'clock in the morning that whole week. I never caught up. I never got more than 5 hours a night. I got my period, which I rarely do because I have the marina. I just thought I was feeling tired and run down. Then we skip ahead a couple of days. Oh, I was gargling with salt water, and the salt water was helping. Skip ahead a couple of days. My coworker tested positive last week, so we all tested every single day before going to the office, and every day, Tuesday through Friday, I had a negative test. And I had a sore throat still, but I didn't really have anything else. I wasn't exhausted. It wasn't anything. And that was that. So, then this past weekend, and Amanda, you said that you kind of had the same thing. I really wanted to go to the hotel for us to do our anniversary trip. My throat was bothering me, but every day I would take Tylenol, or Advil, and it would go away, and I would feel totally fine. I would forget that I even had this, like, throat thing. And that was on Saturday, too. Negative test. Advil was fine. So I also, with the shooting last week, spent all day. I am not one to control my emotions well. I'm not sure if anybody knows this about me or not. And I spent all day. My office is not private, so I didn't want people to see me crying. So I did a lot of let the emotions well up on Wednesday and Thursday of just trying to keep it inside, and all the tears and emotions would just well up at the bottom of my throat. And I honestly thought that was what was going on, because I had the negative tests and, was trying to actively hold back tears, and that is something that happens to me all the time when I get emotional. Then on Saturday evening at dinner, I noticed, I was like, man, that lump in my throat, it keeps moving around, and it feels like it's starting, and then it's moving down and across and up, and it's like every time the Advil wears off, the lump is in a different spot. And Jay was like, you're crazy. And I was like, no, I swear
Wandering
to God.
lumps.
Wandering lumps.
Yeah. I was like, I swear to God, I have wandering lumps. And he was like, okay, I don't know if that's a thing or not. I was like, no, I'm telling you it's a thing. It was up here where salt water was taking care of it. And now it's then it was in the middle, and now it's down. When I swallow, I can feel it's different. And I thought also that I was allergic to something at home. So when we went to the hotel, I was like, I'm going to be interested to see if I wake up tomorrow and I feel better, because I'm removed from my home base. And it didn't really feel much better on Sunday morning. And Jay was like, well, it's not something you're allergic to at home. And I was like, well, clearly not. But again, I would take Advil, it would last for, however long, and I would forget that I didn't feel good because I was feeling fine. And then I woke up this morning, and it felt like I had swallowed knives on both sides of my throat, at the bottom of my throat, and my upper chest, and the roof of the back of my mouth is just all full of bumps. And I was like, fuck, I think I have strep throat, because I've had strep throat before. And I was like, the bumps, the everything, I was like, darn it, I think I have strep. But I never had a fever. But, maybe this is just it presenting itself. So anyway, I take the test this morning, and it looks like it's negative. And I throw it out, and I'm like, okay, boys, I'm negative, because they were enjoying watching me take the test every morning last week. And everybody left. And for some reason, I was still home, and I was cleaning up, and the test was on, the top of the garbage. Just your classic fucking movie, pregnancy test story. And I look again, and I'm like, that does really look like a faint line. It looks like, I can't really tell. It looks faint. And I'm like, no, that's not it. That's not it. And I put it down on the counter, and I, put my shoes on, and, get ready to go out. And I look at it one more time, and I'm like, I've taken enough pregnancy tests to know that any line is a positive line. I know what that means, even the faintest of lines. So I'm going to work, and I took the Advil, but it's still bothering me because I took it right before I left, and I'm starting to panic. I'm thinking about the test, and I'm like, last week, that didn't look like last week's test. Last week's tests were, very clearly, not even anything there. And I did have that thought. I was like, look, it picks up anything. It's picking something up. So I think, you need to go to the doctor and let them do it, because maybe you messed it up.
Yeah.
I actually swabbed my throat first this morning and then stuck it up my nose, because I read anecdotally that was a thing that you might be able to do, which urgent care then clearly... So I go to my office, I'm masked up. I was like, guys, I don't feel good. It feels like I'm swallowing knives. My coworker was sick last week. He was in there, and he was just like, no, it's okay, go. And I was like, yes, of course, I probably got it from you, so obviously I'm going to go. So I grab all my stuff real quick, and I head out to the urgent care, and I explain to them they do a strep test, they do the COVID test, but she looks in my mouth and she goes, "Oh, that looks viral." And I was like, "Fuck, that's COVID," because obviously strep is bacterial related. So I was like, she's like, "We'll take both though," and I was like, "Damn it." So anyway, yeah, when they came back in, the doctor comes in, he's so chipper, he's like, "Hello, congratulations, you have Omicron." And I was like,
Oh, thanks.
I was like, "Cheers, doc."
Oh my god, that's kind of hilarious.
It was kind of funny. And I think
He's got an optimistic spirit 3 years in.
And I know the amount of people he probably told this to, like, this morning.
Yeah, right, that day.
He was probably like, "It's 10:03. You're my fifth COVID patient." He was so cheery about it. He always gave me the instructions. He's like, you said your symptoms have been going on for a little while. And I was like, yeah, but these specific symptoms, of the actual, this feeling, like the lump and all that, like that I can directly trace back to starting, I'm pretty sure Friday, maybe Thursday, but like Friday is when I actively noted it. And he was like, "Okay, isolate 5 days from there, and then wear a mask for the next like 6 days, and don't eat lunch around anybody for a while."
You can be that weird kid eating lunch alone at their desk.
I was like, "I'll go to my car and eat lunch. It's okay."
That good lunch. Oh.
Yeah, he's like, "No high-risk behaviors like eating lunch in front of people." I was like
eating food in public.
I was like, "Okay." So, yeah, there's that. It really is just in my throat. I have the cough on and off, which I do think is related to just like a nasal drip kind of sensation, because it happens generally after I've been lying down and then I get up. But yeah, I didn't really think I was gonna be, like, when I woke up this morning, I didn't think that my test was gonna be positive, because my snot is clear, doesn't like have like infection boogies. I didn't have the cough. I didn't have anything except the only other symptom. Like, I haven't been exhausted more than usual because I don't sleep well or take care of myself.
Right. Well, that's hard to tell.
It's so hard to tell.
Like, you're already, like, if your baseline is tired, you can't tell if you're, like, extra tired.
Exactly.
It still feels tired.
The only other symptom that I had this weekend is, and when we were sitting by the pool, I said to Jay, I was like, "My throat feels better, but my ear really is bugging me. I wonder if I just have an ear infection." So, again, all these things that could be something else, and when you're still testing negative, you don't have any, because, there's other things out there, and it was just very...
There are other things that make us sick.
Right, and after spending a year of being scared that other things that made me sick that were other things, were COVID, like, at some point... Yeah. I don't know, I guess I kind of just was like, took it for granted. Like, I made it this far, I'm probably fine, ha ha ha.
Of course. Yeah.
So I do feel, I don't know. I don't know if I got it at the Durham Bulls game, and I was sick back from 2 weeks ago on. I don't know if I got it from my coworker last week. Again, I was tired, and my immune system was low, because catching it from my coworker last Tuesday fits in with that timeline of like a 2 to 3 day incubation period, and then today would be, day 4, 5, 6 of testing. So, I don't know. I did not test on Sunday, because we woke up at the hotel, and I didn't bring any of that stuff. And I didn't test yesterday, just because I was like, I'm home. Like, I'm going to save my test for when I have to go to work, because I really didn't think I had it, so I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, here's a tip for everybody, though. The nurse at urgent care told me to make sure before you take the nasal swab to blow your nose, because I this whole time thought that, like, you want boogies and all the discharge and everything on that sucker. No. They want your actual, like, nose tissue swab cell stuff inside, so...
Yeah, Lord knows my tests always have boogers.
Yeah.
And it's fucking disgusting.
And so have mine. And that's why, and so did Alex's back when we took it and did the PCR and it was negative. And I swear, he had every symptom. My niece and my nephew, they had COVID, same exact symptoms as Alex, down to the fever and the this and the that. Like Jay's sister's children, like when they had COVID from Zachary. Like Zachary's, Alex's classmates had the same symptoms. Our neighbors had the same things. Like, so I think we just sucked at testing him because we just assumed you get up there, you get some boogies, he's screaming. Okay, fine. You just did it wrong. So if you're doing it wrong, now you know. Blow your nose. Get that nose nice and clean. Yeah. So
next time I take a test, I will.
Yeah.
I am happy to report that I did. So when I bought 4 tests before I went to France, and I submitted them to my insurance, and
oh, good.
And
that
should be receiving
great.
a check. I saw the paper, like on my internet site of my insurance that like it went through, and I was like, sweet, because I just bought 2 more yesterday, and I got those 8 from the U.S. Postal Service.
Yep, I did those too.
Yeah, so those should be coming soon.
Yeah.
Well, that's brand new information.
Yeah, I'll send you the
going
link.
to the library and like pretending like we were a new person every time.
No, I'll send you the link. You can get 8 more tests.
Go in with a mustache. Can we have one, please? Bowler hat the next time. Can we have another test, please? Now that I know there's other public works places we can pawn tests from.
Yeah, and my coworker told me last week, because, we've been ripping through tests last week, and that if you go into, I think it's Walgreens or CVS, you can ask them for 2 tests courtesy of your insurance, and you'll just get it. Like, you give them your card, and they'll just hand them to you. Is that what you guys do?
Yeah,
one of the
I
daycare
submitted
parents
to
was
my
saying
insurance.
that same thing today.
Okay, yeah.
Well, I submitted, Oh, well. I'll get paid back later. As long as I'm getting paid back. I mean, the thing is, like, I can buy them, but, like, also, they're fucking expensive in the U.S. What the hell, dude?
They're, what, $30?
$23 on 2 tests is what I spent the other day.
That's a lot of money.
Fuck that. Yeah, and I had to take both of them because I thought that I did the first one wrong. And that was after I had also taken another test. So I get back and I take a test and it's negative. And then I realize that it's Best Buy February 6th, 2022. So I'm like, well, I can't, put all my eggs in that basket. So I go to Walgreens. I get a set of 2 more. I take the test. It's negative. Then I read the fine print. If you put more than 6 drops in the little thingamabob, you could get a false negative. So then I'm like, well, fuck. Did I really put 6 drops? Did I put more? Okay, well, maybe I should just take the other fucking test. Take the other test. Pay attention this time. Put the 6 drops in and still get a negative test. But like, just to say, yeah, that was $23. But I submitted it to my insurance today. So I had like $40-some of tests before I left, and then $23 of tests when I came back. Again, it was my choice to like travel, so
still,
whatever. but yeah, still, that's expensive. And when Franck was saying like, oh, we should pick some up in France because they're so expensive in the U.S., and I was kind of like, oh, whatever, like insurance covers them. But then today I was like, yeah, we should have. Why didn't we do that?
Yeah. I know.
I
I only have 2 tests left, and they did say stop testing. They were like,
At this point, yeah.
Yeah.
But I am kind of curious, and just to, because the line was so faint that I'm curious to see where my journey goes. Am I going to go up, or am I going to go down?
At this point, like, how could you possibly go up if you've been doing this for a couple weeks?
Well, technically only a week.
Okay.
I haven't felt good for like 2 weeks, but I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. But there was a distinct difference in how my throat felt starting on like Friday afternoon than it had before. Because before it was just a scratchy sore throat. And now all of a sudden it was like, So I went for a walk after dropping the stuff off at Elena's house, and it felt midway through the walk like I had that weird feeling like you swallow a bug or something. And I remember because it just all of a sudden was like a pain, and it was a sharp pain. And like that was kind of like I identified the like difference in how my throat felt before and how it felt like now. And like I remember like trying to like like hack up whatever was there, but not even phlegm really was coming up. And that's when I was like, this feels different. I don't know what's going on. But again, negative test, so I don't know. Blow your nose. I didn't blow my nose beforehand. Maybe that's where I went wrong.
Well, those 3 tests that I took in succession, I didn't blow my nose for, so now I'm like, oh. I keep refreshing the
That also makes sense because when you do you pee in the cup at the doctor's, they always tell you to pee a little first and then
get it midstream.
get it midstream.
the more you know.
Yeah. It's like because
You
you
have
want
a better marketing campaign with all this information.
Seriously.
I mean, really. I didn't know this about blowing your nose first. I
didn't either.
Probably would have saved us a bunch of tests we probably wasted.
Right. And when I was telling Elena about that, she goes, "Oh, that makes sense because when Katie took her test, she had a very stuffy nose and we had a lot of boogies on it and her test came back as inconclusive, so we had to redo it, and then we were able to get our results back. So that actually makes complete sense. You know, like somebody in the wild has experienced the same thing.
Can confirm a similar,
So
yes,
no, there's your thing that you learned today on the broadcast. Blow your nose before you take any kind of nasal swab, and get
and pee a little bit before you
pee a little bit. You need that clean pee sample.
Yep.
My GYN taught me that, like, when I first went to her, like, before, like, even a pregnancy visit. They were like, make sure you pee, then you go to the cup, and then you finish peeing. I was like, okay.
Yep. And then wash your hands, because it will be probably covered in pee by the sound of it from that.
But, you know, it's all about that clean sample, baby. Mm-hmm. But they tell you that, like, every time you go in there. They're like, make sure you have a clean sample.
I've literally never been told that before that I can remember. You are teaching me this right now as we speak.
You're so welcome.
As an almost 40-year-old.
You bite your tongue with that kind of language.
Anyway, thank you though to everybody out there who was very kind to me on Twitter with their stories of being sick and their symptoms and their feel better. Thank you. I feel very lucky that really, even if it's been like 2 weeks of virus fighting and negative tests, I have truly only had the throat thing. So I can't complain when I see what everybody else has dealt with. So. And Advil is working. We're up to 12 solid hours of it helping me. So,
nice.
That's great.
Yeah. All right. Does anybody else have anything going on? I have a feeling this episode's going to be one of our shorter, less focused episodes because we've had a shitload going on the last 2 weeks.
Well, I did go to France for a week.
Shandy went to France.
Yeah.
The United States continued to blow up in the worst possible way.
And I messed it, like, we were talking about it a little bit offline before, and I mentioned that, like, it's always interesting being abroad when the U.S. makes a total fucking ass of itself. And that happened again.
So were you in France when the events transpired, or was it before you left?
No, it was when I was in France.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, and honestly, it was, like, a little bit... I don't know. I mean, I don't know, like, what to say about it exactly. Like, because what I mean is that because I was in France and I never get a new SIM card when I'm in Europe, like, I just keep my phone as it is and, like, hop on the Wi-Fi when I'm at somebody's house or, like, in a public place.
Yeah.
Which means that, like, the rest of the time, I just don't have access to the internet, which is kind of actually nice.
Yeah, you can really, like, enjoy your trip and, like, you know, be present. And all that sort of wonderful stuff that's important.
So, for people listening to this 6 months, a year from now, whatever, because this is America, let me just clarify which school shooting we're talking about. And I'm sorry that we have to do this, but I truly feel like a year from now there might be confusion. We're talking about the Robb Elementary School shooting in Uvalde, Texas, which has just been horrific. Horrific, beyond horrific, as they all are, but even more so, because all of the things.
Yeah, this one is like compounds of like so many of the issues plaguing America. It's like, it's guns, it's our problem with law enforcement, it's Border Patrol's even involved. Like,
and when Border Patrol has to come and save the fucking day, when Texas has they have a system created for such a thing in which each school district has its own police department assigned to the district because that's gonna stop school shootings, and that failed so fucking horrendously.
Yep.
That
you listened
Border
to the Daily
Patrol
this morning, didn't you?
No, I didn't actually. I just did a lot of reading
about that on the Daily.
Okay, I have it downloaded. Actually, if I didn't go home sick, I would have listened to it at my desk today. Damn you, COVID!
You're ruining my life.
Ruining my life. But no, I did a lot of reading last week. Again, I internalized a lot of that sitting there where it just lumped in my throat that I truly thought that was what was going on for a little while, especially with my testing negative, because I just, like, I can even feel it now, just keeping it inside, because I would go to the bathroom, I would sob, and I would come back out, and I would, like, internalize it for another few hours, and then I would go and sob, and it was just a whole big mess. I went to Pure Barre last Wednesday. We had to put our heads down to stretch. I sobbed silently while we were stretching because I kept my hair down and it was covering my face, but not with the tears, just like kept it in my throat. So yeah, a hot mess. I may have just internally gave myself COVID. Who knows?
Well, I think you were probably not alone.
No, I was not alone.
Yeah, most.
There was a whole lot of ugly crying going on last week.
Yeah, this was rough.
But anyway, sorry, to continue, now that we've clarified which school shooting we're talking about.
Right. Well, I mean, so since I didn't have, 24/7 access to internet, it was kind of, like, I was horrified per usual, upset per usual, all of the usual feelings that we go through when this happens, every year, sometimes multiple times a year. But then, I was on vacation, I didn't have internet, so it was like, okay, out into the city and go do something cool and kind of think about something else, which feels weird to say, but also is very necessary. But I do remember the next day, riding on the metro and glancing over to my right and seeing the paper that the person next to me was reading with the headline of, another mass shooting, at a fucking elementary school in the United States. And just being so there's there's mostly just the rage. Mm-hmm. And then there's the sadness, and then there's the shame. It feels so shameful. It's so, it's so, you can't help but feel ashamed when you're abroad in such situations, and then you have to answer for your country, and it's I have no answer. When will that change? I don't think it will in my lifetime, because Sandy Hook happened and everyone was okay with that. If it didn't change then, it's not. And of course, I don't mean to be defeatist, and we shouldn't give up, and we should still keep trying, but I don't know, I feel sort of the same way that I feel about climate change with this. Is we know what we have to do, but people are bought and paid for, so we won't do it. And the gun lobbies have too much fucking power, and so I don't know. But from the outside, they're this is so dumb, and y'all are so dumb and uncivilized. What the fuck are you doing? And it's I agree.
Right on both accounts.
I agree. And yes, that's where I live. So,
yeah. I mean,
and I don't understand. I don't understand how conservatives don't feel that same shame. It's so confusing to me.
That's
what I can't ever wrap my brain around.
Because they're being fed. I mean, I've read so much about this over the last week. I mean, it's from you hear stories, and you've always heard these stories from people that leave the evangelical church, and they come out with these stories of pastors playing games with them with unloaded AK-47s and machine guns.
What?
Saying are you willing to die for your Lord? You're being persecuted because you're Christian. I mean, there's so many anecdotal stories. I can link you probably after we're done, or while I'm editing this, more likely, because I'll be asleep after we're done, hopefully. People who have written op-eds or Twitter threads telling stories of being in the church, being even in Texas, where the most fundamentalist evangelicals are taught, like, you're the persecuted ones, you're going to have to die for being Christian one day, but you'll automatically go to heaven. And when you're taught that, like, your goal is to go to heaven, like, what is your motivation for stopping a shooting when you think your child is going to live with Jesus, and you're told that is better than living with you? Like, well, it's just, I'm saying at a very basic level, there's a very clear indoctrination going on, and combined with the fact that America has a really big problem with gun culture, because obviously in like California, the evangelical beliefs isn't going to be a problem. In Ohio, that, you know, probably isn't going to be as deep as the southern shootings, but like, we have a really big problem where we equate owning a weapon of war with fucking freedom. But like, where's my freedom that I'm sick to my stomach sending my child to school every fucking day?
Well, exactly. And that's, you know, it's interesting. Like, there's a couple of things that come to mind. And one of them is, like, when you're talking about this idea of freedom, like, for example, in the US, we have decided, if you take, like, cigarettes, for example, over the past few decades, we've sort of taken a stance that the freedom of people to breathe clean air is more important than the freedom of people to smoke everywhere. And that is something where you go to France and it's like, oh shit, it's like kind of the opposite. It's like the freedom of the individual to smoke wherever the fuck they want is more important than the freedom of the other individual sitting next to them to, like,
and I remember
not be breathing in their smoke.
I remember in New York in the 90s when that stuff started to get banned and people were like screaming about it. 90s, early 2000s. It was probably right around the time we started college.
But we did it.
And it's so nice.
We also did that with vehicles. We also did that with motor vehicles.
Yeah,
a lot of people were dying from vehicular accidents because they were unsafe, and we decided that was the right of someone to not die in a car accident was more important. So we regulated it, and cars are now safer. Do people still die in car accidents? Yes. Do they die less frequently? Yes.
Also, to operate a car, you need to have training and a license, and you
pass a test.
You have to pass a test, and you have to renew that, and you have to get insurance to buy into the fact that if you cause an accident or you're in an accident, that the financial burden is going to be spread, and you're going to pay your fair share. When you can just order, you know,
none of those things are in the Constitution. So, ergo, all of our very good points are clearly moot, not mute. Well, they're also mute because they're falling on deaf ears.
True.
But
well, and so that was like, that was kind of the theme.
Regulated militia. We forget about the regulated part. We can.
I mean, also like a militia.
They're not talking about guns. They're talking about a militia.
I know.
But again,
talking about muskets.
But I even see on Facebook the amount of people that truly think their last line of defense against the government is their fucking guns.
In the year of our Lord, 2022, like, this is not the 1700s. Being part of a militia in 2022, that is fucking treason. That shit happened in Montana. They got arrested.
Washington, D.C.
Right? No, but I'm just like, there was an actual militia. There was a standoff. Like when we were in like 6th grade, the Freemen in Montana. That was a well-armed militia. Not regulated, but like, you know what I mean? Like, you can't form a militia like against the government. That's actually like not okay. Right? Mm-hmm. Like, are we like, how is that even up for debate? But anyway, so this trip was a great trip. But it was like massive school shooting yet again with very young people. And of course, like, Roe v. Wade is like on the way out. And so it was like, hey,
oh, that nut.
I'm your American friend. How's it going? Can I make
It's like you're literally that meme with like the little like cartoon. Is it a dog? Is it a mouse? I don't know what it is, but it's like sitting in a burning.
Oh, yeah. I think it's a dog. Yeah.
Is it a dog? You were like that incarnate.
Well, and I wrote you guys too. I was like, I realized that like leaving the situation is not the answer. And I know there have been a lot of times where a lot of people have been like, oh, if X, Y, or Z happens, I'm moving to Canada. But I mean, honestly, it's like, I could move to France and like, I don't know, like, I wouldn't have to worry about shootings and my right to an abortion and recognition as like a fully fledged, member of society, right? Is like still part of their society. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, here I am and moving to North Carolina.
Make that state more purple.
Yes.
I'm so excited.
2 more blue voters.
Oh, but yeah, the first time I moved to France, well, the only time I moved to France, was in 2002. So, that was interesting.
It's just been, it's been a rough week to be an American, a parent, anything.
Yeah, this one hit me a lot harder, I think, now, being a parent.
Yeah.
It's like, I keep thinking about, I don't know, whatever the sort of first, again, because there have been so many, it's kind of hard to keep track.
Yeah.
What the first, like, newsworthy mass shooting in the COVID era. And I remember, like, as it came on the news, making this really kind of off-color joke of like, well, I guess the pandemic's over. We're back to mass shootings.
Yeah. No, but it's the truth. Like, that's the...
Yeah.
That's the sad part.
And
but I think it's like this time around, it's like, because it is once again children, it's like, and being a parent, it just, it just hits you different.
It does.
And then it's like you compound on top of it all the information that is now coming out after the fact. Like this is unique in the fact that, like, there was such a clear lack of action on the role of those that we've decided are going to be the people that help.
Right.
That we've decided that, like, law enforcement, we need to fund them so that they can save the day in any instance, all the time, everything.
And don't forget, though, for the Pulse nightclub shooting, which was June 12th, 2016, the cops waited outside of that bathroom for hours. And in Columbine, they were too scared to go in. That one of the kids that was shot was alive after the shooters killed themselves, but had died by the time the police actually went in because they were too scared to go in.
Jesus fucking
Christ. I understand that being people want to talk about, like, respect the forces, they're putting their lives on the line. Well, yes, of course, but that's the job you sign up for. And
those little children did not sign up for this.
Thank you for signing up for that job, but you have to do it.
And the fucking teachers did not sign up for that shit, because when their response is like, oh, we should start arming teachers, it's like, fuck you. First of all, I contributed to Martha, our good friend of the podcast.
I did
Martha,
too.
To her fundraiser today for fucking, like, teaching shit. And, like, because teachers have to, like, raise money from their friends every goddamn year to even have, like, basic supplies.
Like markers and books.
Right?
Zachary's teacher sent out a list as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Sorry.
Right.
I
But
meanwhile,
people that are saying let's arm the teachers are the ones that don't want to fund public education.
Right. And they're the ones that,
like, teachers have to raise money, like, for books,
paper, but we can give them fucking firearms and expect them to be the ones protecting the kids. Like, no. And bringing more guns to the
But it doesn't.
The equation, the answer.
Like we ask this every time, how can more guns? You know what? We've been bringing more guns to the equation now for a very long time, and I read a fuck ton of results, data-driven results or whatever, like, that people cited and quoted and wrote articles about and put little, like, neat little tweets about with articles linked to it to prove, like, to back it up. Like, Marjorie Stone Douglas in Parkland, Florida. That guy ran away from it too. Like, this is not. Anyway, bringing more weapons into the equation has actually shown to be deadlier for everyone involved.
I know, and it's like
the results are out there.
And it's also like, no fucking shit. Like, that's common sense. But if you are so brainwashed and bought by the NRA, then it's not common sense to you anymore, and you, like, actively, like, refuse to see fucking plain ass logic. Yeah. It's so frustrating. And the other thing is, like, I mean, this is why we're so insular sometimes in the US, and it's really unfortunate because if we could just look outside of ourselves a little bit, we could learn from other people. It's okay to learn from other people. Mm-hmm. And just because you think you're the best doesn't necessarily mean that you are, but also doesn't necessarily mean that other places don't have good things too that you could learn from and make yourself even better. And it's just like, have a fucking growth mindset, United States. Like, look around you. There's like other examples of how this could go. And we're just so, like, we just refuse. Yeah. It's so frustrating because it's so fucking obvious.
It is frustrating. And it's also frustrating just, and I know we've talked about this before, but like the most basic of gun reform stuff up there isn't even like starting at like taking away everybody's guns or doing a buyback program for AR-15s. It's literally lowering the age you can purchase guns across the nation. Raising. I'm sorry. Raising the age raising the age that you can purchase a gun to 21 from 18 nationally. So it's not state by state. Universal background checks, making the reporting mandatory, because right now, do we have background checks? Sure. They're mandated by like licensed gun sellers only, and they don't even have to report what they do. So it's fucking pointless. So having a national database, if we can keep track of like sexual offenders in this country nationally, we can keep track of people that shouldn't own a gun nationally in this country. It's also, you would hope, right? Because right now I believe when you purchase the stock, the bullets in bulk, the ammunition in bulk, don't you have to like purchase a minimum amount or something like that? I think I read it.
I don't know.
I think I read that somewhere where like it's sold in bulk, but like limiting the amount of ammunition that you can buy at once.
There should not be a Costco for ammunition. Come on.
Limiting the bump stock stuff and making it illegal to sell the kits that turn semi-automatic weapons into automatic weapons. Like, just there's basic things you can do that I think, like, if we stop with the propaganda, which we'll never do, but like I think that if you took regular gun owners that were just people that wanted to shoot their deer and have it for protection because they live in the middle of nowhere and they want it for protection, or they have an ex-boyfriend that's stalking them and they need the handgun to carry conceal. Like, I understand there's going to be situations where in America right now you might need to transition slowly into not having weapons because blah, 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 blah. But, like, that's not even, like, in the basic proposals. It's just, like, very white bread stuff. It's not even, right? It's just not anything that's going to affect most people, like, you know what I mean? Like,
well, it's just like the killers that we have banned semi-automatic weapons before. Mm-hmm. We've done it. And because those in power at the NRA made a decision a long time ago on how to boost their influence by taking advantage of, the people that trust them. And it's like I'm almost too tired to even adequately express how infuriating this whole state of affairs makes me. Like, I really don't think I can adequately say how angry I am, how sad I am. Like, I think
I understand, though, like, the frustration. There's literally, I read something last week that after the assault weapons ban lifted in 2004, the gun lobby invested so much money in helping small gun owners set up their shops, so that would be their sole income, was selling the fuck out of some guns, that there are now more gun stores in America than there are, like, McDonald's. It's easier to go find a place for guns. And Shandy, when you're driving through the South, you're gonna see it. When we drove to Winston-Salem last weekend, there was a giant electronic billboard outside of a gun shop that said, "Let's go, Brandon." And we rolled our eyes at it and we made fun of it and we were like, oh my God, this fucking place. But, like, and that was before the shooting. So, like, that's the culture, right? Like, that's the culture, and that's what it is. And it's so incredibly frustrating. It's just, you're right, Amanda. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating.
Well,
and we have a lobby that's out of control.
I'm like, how fucking small is your fucking dick?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because that's the micro penis energy right there.
Right. Like, why do you need this? You can't shoot. You can't hunt with an AR-15. Like, you can't. You're going to demolish anything you try and kill with it. It's like it has no purpose. It has no purpose, and like general society doesn't feel like the right term. Like, it just has no purpose really anywhere, I suppose.
Well, and like we've seen time and time again that like people don't actually protect themselves with guns. Like, either you're in a situation where it's used against you, or you're in a situation where like the police were armed but didn't have the whatever to go into the school. So like, no, it doesn't actually help.
Yeah.
Right. If the good guy with the gun, aka the police, are like afraid of this type of gun, then like what are we doing?
Right. And don't forget,
To borrow a line from my, Chris Murphy, fighting the good fight, what are we doing?
it's true, Chris Murphy.
What are we doing?
God bless him. Don't forget, in Dayton, Ohio.
I can't keep arguing about this anymore. It just
I will say, like, to go back to like the gun culture in the U.S. and like how problematic it is. I got an email in the wake of this that mentions we have 120 civilian weapons for every 100 people. The country closest to those numbers is Yemen, with 53 civilian weapons per 100 people, and they are in a terrible civil war.
Yep.
So just as an example, like,
let that
fucking
settle
fucked
in.
up. Yeah.
And just in case, I don't know if you remember this, but excuse me, I believe it was August 2020. There were 2 shootings in one night. And one of them was at a bar in Dayton, Ohio, and the police got there in. The police fired and got the suspect, in 30 seconds. And in that 30 seconds that he was shooting his AR-15, he still managed to shoot 15 people. So even if the good guys with the guns act fast enough and they're there and it works how it's supposed to work, quote unquote, it's still a weapon meant to kill. It's designed to kill a lot of people at once. And you don't need that in your home. We don't need to sell those in the United States of America.
Nope.
Right. I mean, we could keep talking about this for another hour, but really, like, the point here is they shouldn't exist.
No.
Yeah.
There is no place for them. Full stop. Full stop.
I mean, I sort of fantasize that, like, I've always maintained, I feel like Democrats, and maybe it's changing, but like, even historically, like, Democrats, because of like this American obsession with guns, I feel like, even liberals sometimes have to be like, oh, well, I do support the Second Amendment, but like, I support like common sense gun. I don't support the Second Amendment. No. You know what? It's fucking dumb as shit, and we're smarter than that, or we should be. And so I do fantasize about a world without guns at all. And I know, like, that makes me maybe like a naive dreamer, but it would be a better world than the shit we've got going now. Like, it's just, it's so dumb and
right, because it's the Constitution. It's not the effing Bible. Like, the founding fathers were human beings that could not imagine what the future looked like.
Right. Which in that way it is like the Bible.
Right. Depending on who you ask.
But if you care so much about the intentions of the Constitution, like, those motherfuckers were slave-owning sons of bitches who didn't...
Slavery is written into the Constitution. So really, we're going to trust this document, like, just word for word and not like...
Yeah.
We're like the only democracy that hasn't ever rewritten their constitution.
I know. France is on its 5th republic. And it's just so funny because, like, they don't understand, like, how this shit can't change in the U.S.
It's not this, like, omnipotent, infallible document. Like, it is meant to be a... guys, I'm getting worked up. I think we need to move on. I just can't do it.
Oh, and don't forget, in the, what is it? Not the Pentagon Papers. The Federalist Papers. Didn't Hamilton write about what they meant with guns?
Probably. I mean, he wrote like 187
The Pentagon Papers, the Federalist Papers, the fuck were they called? I'm like blanking
Federalist
completely right now.
Papers,
Federalist Papers, yes. So it wasn't like there's nothing to know what they meant. But just to
But also who fucking cares what they meant?
Mm-hmm.
That was several hundred years ago. It is 2022. We should not be like chained to something that does not make sense in today's world.
Yes.
I will say, just to bring this back to something we can all kind of understand, is we had a lot of retrospectives this past week, and for the first time in a while, in a list of Washington Post articles of reviewing deadly school shootings, I was shocked that Jay's was listed in there, the one that he was involved in 2001. And because it always generally gets overlooked because only 2 students died, and we were talking about that, and then we realized that it happened in 2001, which was before the assault weapons ban expired, and because that kid couldn't buy a automatic weapon, he had to go. He broke into his dad's gun cabinet and took his dad's guns, and the 2 kids that died because they got shot point blank in the head, and there were like 15 kids that were wounded or whatever, but they survived because they weren't shot with an AR-15. And that is I think that is actually, and Jay said, he's like, if that was an AR-15, he probably would have hit me, and I probably would be dead right now because I was in the range. And I just was lucky enough to outrun it when I saw him shooting at people. So who knows? Like, he could have just swung it around in a circle and gotten me too. So just to put it in perspective, like, sure, maybe a bad guy's always going to get their hands on something. But if we have a tool out there that can minimize the death and the destruction and the loss of lives and the killing of fucking children that deserve it, and people that are going to the grocery store, 86-year-old that beat cancer, that shouldn't just walk in to get their groceries and not leave because we've been so radicalized in America. And I don't give a shit if you've been bullied. You know how many millions of people have been bullied in life that haven't had any urge? You know how many of us are on medication for some kind of mental issue, and we haven't had any urge to go shoot and kill. So it's the weapons. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Remove if you think that evil's always going to exist, why continue to let it have a tool out there that is an easy tool for killing? Why not make it harder for that evil to exist and do its will?
Doesn't mean we shouldn't try.
Exactly. Okay, we're going to move on. But if you do need to if you're interested in ways to donate to help, if you have not already done so, if you can go to GoFundMe, they actually have a mass link tree, and it's ways to donate to the families for every single child that was killed, along with some other community fundraisers for that area. I think it's just on their homepage, but I can link to it in the show notes. So if you are looking for ways to help, you can do that. It also sucks that we as a country need to rely on things like GoFundMe to fund things, 'cause we can provide those services. But it's also really nice to see how the community has come out to help. Like that funeral company, the man has been up all night to custom paint 19 baby coffins he spent time with each family, and it's nice to see. It's a shame that a community has to come together for this. We should have to come together for other things, but if you go to GoFundMe, they have a link tree to donate. I'll put it in the show notes.
We shouldn't have to adjust our policy to normalize school shootings.
Exactly.
Amen.
We shouldn't. Amen. Because they're not normal. We live in a first world country.
No.
They're not normal.
This is not a thing we need to normalize. We can fix this.
Hey, but if kids have to fucking wear a mask to school, that's going to be psychologically damaging.
Oh my God, we didn't even get into that. That's going to be another 45-minute tangent right there that we didn't even touch upon, and I don't know how we managed to miss it.
Yeah, let's just say that all the parents that screamed about masking in school being traumatizing their children that are silent on weapons and shooting can fuck off. You didn't really care about your kids. You just cared about politics.
Yeah. Also, it's the same Venn diagram of the fuck-offs who were screaming about kids having to wear masks at school and having to wear masks in general because my body, my choice. But it's fine if Roe is overturned.
Yeah, it's fine if it involves a uterus.
Yeah,
but that's what I'm going back to.
Not fine if it involves a gun.
Right. That's going back to bring it full circle to the beginning. Is we have a fundamentalist religious right controlling policy right now who genuinely believes that it is okay for their kids to die and go live with Jesus so that everyone else can live for their freedom with their guns. And I'm grossly oversimplifying it and paraphrasing here, but there's a Venn diagram and it's all there. Yep. And it's all very frustrating.
It's all there.
I would prefer my children be with me and then go live with Jesus when they're like 90 and I'm already there. But I mean, that's just if I had my way. Yeah. If there is. If all that exists.
If all that exists. Which reminds me that I finally watched Coco on the flight back.
Oh, did you cry?
I cried like a baby.
I cry like a baby every time I watch it.
It was so good.
I love it so much.
It's so sweet. So good. Like, go up.
Oh, good.
Yeah. But yeah, remember your elders and only go live with Jesus when you're old if you can.
Yeah.
If it's up to you.
Yep. That's my preference. All right. On that note, let's take a quick break. We'll come back and then we'll get out of here. All right, we're back. We only have a little bit of feedback to get into tonight. Like I said, quicker episode. I am choking back the coughs. I've actually done a rare thing and muted myself several times tonight. Also, Shandy, I am jealous that you got wine during our break and I did not go up and
I did use the restroom because that was my whole thing. Like,
I had to pee too, but then I came back because I was lazy. I didn't want to go upstairs and deal with Jay being like, "Why aren't you done yet?" So I was like, "I'm just gonna stay down here where it's safe." All right. I'm gonna be at home for the next few days, so I guess there'll be plenty of time. All right. Because we only have a little bit of feedback, and I think for the first time ever, we don't have any she-mails.
We don't.
My goodness.
My goodness. That's all right. All right. New era.
I mean, I feel like, okay, we do have a she-mail on the docket for tomorrow.
We do.
So technically, our email inbox contains a she-mail.
It does contain a she-mail. Because tomorrow we will be...
on a technicality...
Is there a good place? Because tomorrow, aka...
On technicality, our run is...
Yeah. Tomorrow, aka a few days ago, we are recording our monthly topical podcast, and we are going to be talking about Clueless, 10 Things I Hate About You, and Can Hardly Wait. I have watched 2.5 of them. I have 25 minutes left of Can Hardly Wait. But guys...
Me too.
I forgot, and I know we'll talk about this next week, but how much I loved 10 Things I Hate About You. Watching that, it made my heart so happy. It brought me back to, a place, I don't know, a carefree time.
I was happy how well it held up.
Me too. I mean, there's definitely issues with all of the movies.
Yes, there was cringe, but as a whole...
Yeah, we can talk about it. It's too late for you to email us upon hearing this, but next month.
Maybe we can have a section of the next topical show that can be a little like old business.
Yeah, or when we come back.
Yeah. When we come back. Following.
Yeah, in a couple weeks.
If you have something on your heart that you need to unload about the movies, just do it. Say what's in your heart.
Yeah. I was surprised.
We'll read it at some point.
How well all three of them held up. Because I truly didn't think they were going to, there's some gratuitous use of the R and the F-A-G words.
Oh my God.
That I was like, eek, this is bad. But overall, I know tomorrow. Listen next week. Next week,
tomorrow.
everybody. Yeah. And also next week we'll announce what we're doing for the July one.
Oh, right. We do have to figure out what.
We will tell you that. I guess real quick, in case we lose anybody at the end of the show. So next week we'll be doing the movies. We're not recording a new episode on 6/7, although the movie episode will be out on 6. What is that? The 10th. We'll be off the week of the 14th, and we'll be back for our birthday show, which will be 6:45. Because I don't even think I announced that. We're 2 episodes away from our season finale here. Shandy, do you have any dates for us for that week?
I do have an update. I need to talk to Frank. So Frank's going to actually stay that whole week.
Oh, great!
Nice.
Yeah. So I just need to talk to him and see, like, what... Cause we'll be living in the same room, so...
Oh, because it's a hotel.
Yeah.
He can join us.
He can join us. It's going to be over Zoom anyway. He'll just be in person.
Boy.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So, okay.
So, you know, maybe either day would work.
So maybe we can do it on Tuesday.
Just want to run it by.
Tuesday the 21st?
Not that he would necessarily have any plans.
But, you know, just to be considerate. Maybe he wanted to take, like, an extra long sleep time. Maybe he, like, wanted to go to bed really early. I don't know why I, like, chose to phrase it that way. Right. But I was, like, already halfway into the sentence. So I was like, all right, just commit. Keep talking.
Or, I mean, he'll be working remotely, so, like, he might have work stuff. But we'll figure it out. There might be, like, a business center at the hotel.
That's okay. We'll figure it out. So do you think tentatively we could say Tuesday the 21st then?
Let's say Tuesday the 21st.
Okay.
The Tuesday the 21st.
Because otherwise the only other day that week is the 20th or the Monday or the Thursday, because I'm flying to Marco on Wednesday and Amanda is not free on Friday.
That is correct.
Let's just go with the 21st.
Okay.
It's my first day of work.
Whew. All right, so we'll be off on the 7th, the 14th, and then we will be recording on Zoom our live birthday podcast on Tuesday, the 21st of June. Hooray! I'm very excited.
Hooray. Me too.
Very excited. Yes. I got all ambitious like a month or so ago and started to do like the quiz like I did at the beginning of this season. And then I kind of just stopped doing it, but I've got like all this time this week. I might as well just go ahead and finish it so I can do it live for everybody.
Doing it live.
So, but I'm really excited about our birthday, and I can't believe that it is the end of 6 years. Holy crap.
That's wild.
It is wild.
It's
and we
really
need to get together and give Jacob ideas for our new artwork.
Ugh, I know.
Yes.
I've been like... kind of trying to think like just keeping in the back of my head like this like wonderful idea is going to come to me. No, nothing.
It's not my forte. So I was like, when you guys were talking about this when I was in France, I was like, I'm sorry, because it is hard to like also mental space when you're on vacation, etc. But now I have no excuse except that I'm terrible at this, so I'm sorry. 6 rhymes with dicks? I don't know.
Yeah, but maybe not.
The whole thing is dildo. We've solved it.
Replace the wine with a dildo, or a fleshlight, which I believe was it Elena that we taught what a fleshlight was? Oh yeah, you missed that, Shandy, when we were playing Cards
Elena
Against
was
Humanity.
there.
Oh, I missed a good year.
Yeah, I think it was
years,
they're all good years. I think it was Elena who didn't know what a fleshlight was, and JP was trying to explain it to her, and it was just so adorable in all the ways. I think. All right. Feedback. Also, I just got this really weird text from somebody with the same area code as me. This week has been so crazy. Think you have time to help me relax a bit? And that's the picture that came with it.
Whoa, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's a lady without a shirt on.
With some boobs.
With some big boobs. Big titties. I'm going to delete that because I don't think that was meant for me. I don't even think that was spammy. I just truly think that wasn't meant for me. All right, moving on into the feedback portion of the show. John says, imagine the murder of all those people in Texas will be discussed. It was. I also think the moron and her Peachtree dish comment may come up as well. We did not talk about that, but she is a moron. Marjorie Taylor Greene talked about how Bill Gates grows fake meat in his Peachtree dish instead of a Petri dish.
Yeah, because apparently the liberals don't want you to eat meat. Like the Democrats or the...
Cow farts are bad for the environment. Do you remember that with the Green New Deal? That's how they attacked AOC.
I mean, they are. And people shouldn't, but like...
Yeah, right. It's my way of life. America, I'm going to eat my cow if I want to. Okay. Heart disease.
Okay, so just like die early and like pollute the ozone. That's on you. Go for it.
There you go. Randy says, quite often when I listen to the broadcast, I have to consult the Urban Dictionary. Tig biddies. I forgot about
You know what, Randy? Sometimes I have to do some sly Googling myself.
Yeah.
Because these broads know more than me.
That's not true. We just know different things than you.
That's not true. More useless nonsense up in here.
Tig Biddies is still... I was almost an episode title, man. Remember that for the quiz. It will be on it. Remember that. Matt says, I didn't expect we'd tackle the health benefits of cannibalism before the health benefits of alcohol. Oh my God, what a wonderful callback. Whenever our last show ever is, I promise we will talk about the health benefits of alcohol. It will happen.
Episode title.
Yeah,
yes.
That's going to be it.
Yeah. Perfect.
The one with the health benefits and the end. John also says, just watch Yellow Jackets this week and listen to the podcast episode as well. Why, thank you for listening. I found it interesting that all the teen Yellow Jackets are in their 20s in real life. Oh, honey, you haven't seen Can't Hardly Wait.
Hollywood. How Hollywood works.
Not to mention Grace.
Oh, my Lord. Oh, Grace. Oh, good Lord. I like the Jackie character, and as soon as I saw there were adult versions of the characters as well, I thought Emmy Rossum would be a great adult Jackie. Oh, well. And then Margaret asked if he had seen her in Shameless, which I hear is a very good show. I've never seen it, though.
Yeah,
I've seen like a season or two, and then I stopped. And I mean, not for like disliking it, but also...
Yeah.
Meh?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like maybe it gets excellent in like season 4. I'm not sure.
Yeah. That's kind of how I felt with The Affair. I watched the first season through my free trial, and then I've kind of been like, I don't really have any interest in seeing beyond that. There's something about watching terrible people do terrible things to each other, but they're also good people doing terrible things that become terrible people, and I don't know. I'm like, I've got real life. Thank you all for that feedback, though. If you have any feedback, thebroadcasters3@gmail.com or 331-276-2373. We love feedback. And then I guess we're going to finish this up with Matt's What She Said.
Oh, boy.
All right. It was much better the second time around.
You should try and get it.
They put that sucker right in your mouth.
Keep it all in.
We never finished.
Mandy girl, I know you feel me. That is something that Seth Green's character would say on camera.
Oh my God.
We're at 2 minutes.
I have 2 quick ones.
Ba-dum-cha.
Ba-dum-tsh.
Well, thank you, Matt. Those are short but sweet. I appreciated it. Thank you.
Efficient.
An efficient batch this week.
Yes.
All right, everybody, thank you so much for listening. I know it was a little bit weirdly structured show, but we appreciate it. It's good to be back. Looking forward to talking about the movies. And then looking forward to the Zoom, the birthday party. We're going to use the same link that we always do. I will post it in all the places. It will also go out on Patreon. Speaking of Patreon, thank you to the patrons, especially the ones that contribute a certain level, and that would be Eckhart Rigner, Tack from Tokyo, Maggie the Magnificent, Joanne with a Plan, and Ed the Creepy Poopy Head Mailman. Thanks, guys, so much. I waited until Shandy was about to take a sip before I said Poopy Head. Zachary is dying to do a podcast on Survivor. He enjoyed this season as well. I successfully turned them all from Jonathan fans into Lindsay fans, so that felt like a win.
Success.
Mr. Jeff.
Oh my God.
So fucking annoying.
And on the exit interview, Mr. Rob, like, fuck.
Oh, I didn't even listen to it. I stopped when it got to his. I was like, I'm out. I'm good. I should go back and listen. I didn't delete it yet.
I did. I know it's like a southern thing, so guess I'm gonna have to get used to it.
No, I live in the South.
I fucking hate that. It's like nails on a chalkboard to me.
That's it. You know, it might be a southern thing, but I'm from the North, so I don't do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Boom. The end. Anyways, ding. Thanks, guys, for listening, though. We appreciate it. Again, thebroadcasters3@gmail.com, or give us a call, 331-276-2373. Yeah, I think that's about it. I can't believe we're wrapping up. We're in the end game of Season 6. Woohoo! All right. Anybody have anything before we go? Shandy, time remains to be seen whether this was the one where we yelled COVID bingo or...
Oh, yeah.
Let me check my results one last time.
Oh, no.
It's probably still too early.
It's probably still too early.
But if we can have it live here on the podcast.
Oh, my goodness. The suspense is killing me. If you come back with strep throat, I'm going to die.
I acknowledge, blah, 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 submit. Your results are not available.
Womp, womp, womp. Well,
I'll let you know tomorrow.
Let us know tomorrow, and honestly, the results will be the episode title, so it's one way or the other.
It's going to be like our gender reveal.
Exactly. Our Shandy's COVID results reveal.
Yes. But no fires will be set in the revealing of this
We're doing it
test results.
responsibly.
Exactly. Yes. Just in my throat, apparently.
And hopefully by then, not so much.
Yeah. Maybe not. I feel so much better now. That Advil's really working. It just feels like it's dry. Like, I gotta keep going, like, instead of, on that note, thanks for playing. We'll find out. The suspense is killing me. My name is Colleen.
My name is Amanda.
And my name is Shandy. And I'm... Sorry, I fucked that up.
Blow your nose and brush your teeth, ladies and gentlemen.
Perfect.
Goodbye.
I waved. I was like, no one's gonna hear that.
If you wave on a podcast,
You have to wave very vigorously so you can hear the whooshing sound.
They felt it in their hearts, though.
Yeah, they felt it.
Yeah.